of Commanders in Conflict. Joining me is Cohen. Say hello, Jim.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. I've been off 2 games so far today. This is my last game of the day, and I'm super excited to see Nanshin Ron again, this time with our 2 grand finalists. Hopefully we'll see a closer game than you and Golden gave us in the last game.
Hopefully. As long as Gold is not in charge of the nation, it can only be better.
Yes, I heard you reprimanding him for his no air strategy, which I thought was an interesting approach to this map.
It definitely was, and you definitely need air on this map, so hopefully we'll see both players investing a little bit into that.
Yeah, that's right. You heard it here first. Air is important in Hearts of Iron 4, particularly when you have very large areas of air to defend and attack. So, in this game, we have College playing as the Allies and Seemops as the Axis. We have said before that we think this map is maybe slightly Axis inclined, but College did pick the Allies. Why do you think that is?
I believe it's because of the Navy. You get the big British or Commonwealth Navy, which surely gives you the biggest amount of supremacy projected. Whereas what we did in the previous game, we did the US Navy, and it's simply just not enough, because if, as we can see, he's already gone the Commonwealth, Seemops is going for the Japanese Navy, which is a hard counter, or like they basically balance each other out now, so they can both do naval invasions.
Yeah, so having control of the sea, as we saw in the last game, is super important in this map. If you don't have that sea control, you're going to struggle to get naval invasions off, and without naval invasions, you're really struggling to make any kind of impact in the game. Yeah,
you won't really be able to take the islands, which are all like not connected to your mainland, so that's going to be really hard.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we saw just there, both of them have gone for their faction picks immediately, straight off the bat. They're not going into their industry trees. Obviously, they want the XP, they want the Navy out quickly so they can exercise it potentially and get a head start on that stuff. Not focusing on their industry, but a comparable build. I can see agency being formed by the Allies, and the same thing over on the Axis side, both going into Intel. You didn't go Intel at all in the last round, or
that
at least
was
not till later on.
Also a very big mistake, a choice by Golden. He said we couldn't afford it. This time, however, both players are also already going into paratroopers. I believe College was also going into paratroopers. No, only paratroopers researched on Seemops' side so far. Okay. So he will have 2 options, either the naval route or the air route.
Yeah, the air route, and yeah, it can be really important. As the Allies, we've seen paradrops very successfully into Batavia from Christmas Island, and we've seen less paratrooping from the Axis actually throughout the tournament on this map, because they have much further to go to get to in terms of distance to get to some of the islands that are actually outside of paradrop range. They do have Manila quite close to them.
Yeah, so what they can do is that they can paradrop from their island up there down to Manila. And then they could potentially go onwards, as we saw Dankis trying to do yesterday, onto Borneo, if they get the opportunity before the Allies make it there.
Yeah, absolutely. And lots of naval invasions very early on. If I come over to my screen, orders here being set out by Seemops very early on. He's going for a very wide approach with his naval invasions, heading in towards all the major victory points. He's not trying to go down onto Java itself, but landing on Sumatra and all the ports here in Borneo, including this one right here on the east coast, which is actually one the Allies have gone for before in the first show match yesterday. This was a port you took, you and go on this side, and then pushed across to try and take the victory point here off the Axis. So yeah, so Seemops trying to deny any foothold for the Allies on Borneo. Borneo can really be the crucial area of this map.
It is the hardest island, in my opinion, to make a move on, because, again, as we talked about yesterday, the terrain on the island is, I don't think there's a single plains tile on that island. It's either jungle, mountains, or maybe a hills tile if you're lucky. Whereas there are plains tiles on the sides of Batavia, which are easier to take, and then therefore launch an attack on Batavia from.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we've said many times before, supply is everything on Borneo. You have to have good supplies. Whether you get that from transport planes doing air supply, you have to capture ports, you might upgrade ports or build new ones, railways perhaps to carry things forwards, and also making sure you have enough trains and you don't get logistics strikes into oblivion on your fulfillment.
We saw what happened to Leonard yesterday. He lost in, I think it was a week of in-game time where he didn't have his air up, and then all the trains were just gone.
Exactly. So yeah, we'll see. Keep an eye on how the 2 players develop here. Glancing at their production, transport planes are in the Axis queue. Haven't got any factories on it just yet. Over on the Allied side, we're looking at just straight guns and convoy production for both sides, in fact. very heavy move into convoy production. So nothing revealing yet.
I believe he is designing a light cruiser or destroyer right now, College, on his side at the moment. We can see on the screen. It looks like a heavily torpedo AA light attack. Not that much heavy into light attack, but a little bit. Mainly to take out bigger ships or airplanes, I believe. But it could be a multi-purpose.
Yeah, so I mean, he's going to be probably refitting some ships into that design, you think, or building new destroyers.
He just set up a queue for it, so I believe that is new ships we're seeing here. The first navy he is building. No more convoys.
Yeah, destroyers really important for this map. I mean, we just saw in the last game that the number of destroyers that the Axis had, they were able to dominate quite a lot of space with that more numerous numbers. Even if you had some good capital ships, they can't be everywhere at once.
We worked on light cruisers, and as you can see here on Seemops' POV, he is actually going for the light cruiser strategy that we did last game. So we'll see how that holds up, depending on the amount of dockyards you put into it, how much investment it is. The light cruisers have more health, and it can fit better guns on them and more guns. So therefore, they can deal more damage. But it's all about, is it quantity versus quality still?
Yeah, and you can see survivability studies there. These are the standard 2 air techs we've seen researched first up, I think, by a lot of players throughout this whole tournament. Trying to design the fighter. They have both gone for their faction pick. They've not progressed down that tree any further, though. They've both gone into their focus trees and headed over to the industry side of the map. You can't quite see underneath College's camera there, but Expand the Arms industry is underway for Seemops. And if I glance over at the allies, I might see a similar picture. Let's see. I have, but only that he's a little bit behind, actually. Did he go? He went one step further down to get the cost reduction for the Grandmaster and the 300 XP there. So I imagine to design that destroyer is what is the main thing he's done there at College. He's taken the XP early, designed the destroyer, got it into production, and now pivoting back over to do some industry stuff. I
believe that is exactly what happened, because Seemops instead grabbed the Naval Advisor, which gives you the daily XP gain instead. So that's his choice, and it is a hard balance to do because you have to spend your political power on it instead of just doing a focus. But you get your industry instead. So
yeah, absolutely. So already we're seeing these little differences. Both of these players have played throughout this whole tournament. They've played in a very considered manner, in a very measured manner. They've had plans they're trying to execute right from the start, and they've avoided getting flustered under micro pressure. So we'll see. Ultimately, this map you think is going to be a test of who has the best build, who has the best overall plan for victory, because we're more unlikely to see micro errors. As being a more macro focused map. It's a test of executing plans they spent time practicing.
100%, and I see colleges now also going into the heavy cruiser strategy, which they both count as, I usually call them screens for the other heavy ships, so maybe they get targeted instead of the battleship, so that could be it. Or it could be for him to get some extra light attack plus some heavy attack on top of it. It's an interesting build for that.
Yeah, and we should point out, I don't think there's a gentleman agreement in this game against subs and mines in the way there was in the show match.
We'd be able to figure out really fast if there is no gentleman's agreement, because then we would probably see it really fast, right?
Yeah, absolutely. At the moment, yeah, both putting in surface ships. We aren't seeing submarines built by either side at the moment. Of course, they haven't gone into that tree. There's no German pick for the Axis side.
Exactly, and I don't see any paratroopers on College's side yet, but that being said, he is going the Commonwealth, so he can still get access to the paratroopers from the Special Air Service focus. He actually gets a paratrooper division from that, and he only needs to build the transport planes. And it does look like he is building transport planes, so we're probably going to see paratroopers from him as well.
Yeah, he's just not got the factories yet to get that line going. He is building some fighters, it seems.
Yeah.
Which is what you would normally want. There are transport planes under production on the Allied side already, along with some infantry equipment, but both trying to just get out what they can and really prioritize what is the most important thing to have at this particular time as they build up. I'll have a look at templates briefly. I don't see anything out of the ordinary that's worth showing massively. Yeah, just 12 width standard infantry templates on the Axis side, nothing massive. And then on the Allied side, there is some changes here. So we have basic, which is 12 width standard infantry, and good, which is another 12 width. I imagine this might have some artillery or something else going into it later on to make it more beefy. and then the armoured division that he got from taking the Commonwealth focus as well.
It will probably have a change because it doesn't make any sense to have the basic and the good be the exact same, unless he's trying to, I guess, psy up his opponent into believing that there are multiple different divisions.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that yesterday in the show match between Tommy K, Habibi, and yourself. There were tank divisions that had been designed on Tommy K's side, and they had the tank symbol with the lightning that you might use for a very, very good division. They were just basic infantry.
Yeah.
Just trying to make it appear on the map as if you're getting pushed by tanks when they're nothing of the sort.
And as you can tell, Seemops actually just looked at College's factories, and you can also go in and check his division. So if you have the intel and you see that tank logo, maybe you're thinking, wait, is he actually going for the tanks? What's going on here?
Yeah, misdirection, as we've seen so many times before in various parts of history and indeed in this tournament. So yeah, intel for both sides. They're both pretty low at the moment, but they are going into the intel agencies. In terms of builds in there, they've both gone for a naval department, a bit of passive defense on the Allied side, and on the Axis side, a bit more heavy into it. There's 3 levels of passive defense already done on the Axis agency, along with the naval department. So that early use of civs, Seemops is prioritizing getting that defense up early on, rather than building things with his factories.
Yeah, and you can see College is focusing on getting that extra advantage with military factories to try and get some extra IC produced as fast as possible. And again, that can be the advantage because depending on what you spend your civs on, whether you convert them, you're building mills, you could either get a fast advantage if you're converting them, or if you're building them, you'd get if the game runs on for a little longer and you don't want to try and go for a knockout punch immediately, which I assume nobody's doing on this map, you will be able to have a long-term goal here.
Yeah, absolutely. On the industry side, yeah, there's a bit of a gulf opening up on mill factory count. That's due to the Axis being further down their armed industry tree at the moment, having taken that focus first. And yeah, so early decisions on what order you do focuses, that will have a huge impact. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else jumping out at me. At the moment, the builds seem very conservative. You can see, I'll show very quickly, just the naval invasions here from Seemops. Seemops has been much more active at this stage in laying out his naval invasions. College has been not doing that so far, focusing his attention elsewhere. You imagine we'll probably see some kind of, well, here we are, invasions here from Christmas Island over to Java. These are naval invasions, not paratroop invasions. I'm not sure, did he research paratroopers at all? No, he's not gone for them at all so far. So no paratroopers so far for College. That may mean that he might find it a bit harder to get onto Borneo. We have seen paradox before, bouncing from Java straight over to Borneo with paratroopers can be very, very effective.
100%. It's all about getting the port or an airport so you can continue moving. It's all about the movement on that one. But again, as I said earlier, he can still get the paratroopers from the focus if he has the transport planes and he gets it onto the island in time. It's still possible. But it all depends if he goes for the focus first, because he will also need the Navy. And does he have time for it? These days that we have left, we have 139 days until war. They move really fast.
Yeah, it comes around so quickly, the war. You think like it's it's a whole year, it's a long time, but it comes around super quick, particularly on speed 4 as we are. Everything moves so quickly.
Yeah,
you have no time to think.
Especially when you're sitting on the stage, it feels like it's moving even faster, and the cameras are on you and all that. So
yeah, so it's a test here of knowing at this stage. These guys have practiced so much of knowing your build off by heart. If you're having to stop and think and agonize over decisions for too long, you're just going to lose time.
100%. What's interesting right now is that I haven't seen anyone else other than me and Golden do this on this map. They're going. Seemops is going for the landing craft, which actually gives you access to the floating harbor tech, which means you can land without a port and still get supply.
Yes.
So that could be very interesting to see those employed outside of my hands or Golden's hands, because we weren't very good with them.
Well, yeah, perhaps College has been inspired by yours and Golden's example with the floating harbors. I mean, it did need the Rhein map. You came a lot closer with that approach. At one point, you had a bridgehead that was quite nicely supplied by a floating harbour, and then you got the ports. And had you had the strength to push that, it was promising.
Maybe it could have worked, and that's if Seemops can figure out a way to use these more effectively than we did, then there you go.
Yeah, the key thing is having the naval strength, and having picked the UK side, he's going to have a better time with that than you did with the American side. and it's going to be really key who gains control of the sea, which sounds like a really obvious thing on this kind of map. Like, it's a big archipelago. There are many islands. Having control of the sea is super important. But we've seen before, some players have come into this map and they've not prioritized the sea. They've had, whether it's paratroopers getting the air war or having better ground divisions. They've had some success before, but the bottom line is if you have to at least contest the sea. If you completely lose it 100%, there's virtually nothing you can do.
You're completely right on that. If you just give up on the ocean entirely, then it is over for you. You will get convoy raided, and there is no way of getting supplies into those islands or strength into your divisions or whatever it is. Once you lose that, you might as well just type GG in the chat.
Yeah, and that's why we're seeing on the Allied side, Mediterranean fleet now being done for the Allies, and that'll give them the 2 battleships and aircraft carriers, so a sizable fleet that they will need to use wisely to contest the seas with Seemops' equivalent fleet on the Japanese side. That's why we're seeing, we are seeing 2 naval-focused faction picks by both players. The Japanese are a very, very strong naval pick, less good on land from what we've seen in previous rounds, and in the Allies as well. Same true, having a very strong focus on the British side, Commonwealth side, I should say, with the Navy.
100%. And again, as we saw in yesterday's match, the very exciting one between Dankis and that wasn't yesterday, but the match before that where Dankis was trying to naval invade. Oh, that was yesterday.
It was yesterday, yeah. That was yesterday.
Seemops. Where the naval battle happened outside Sumatra.
Yes.
And it didn't happen until very late in the game because both players are aware of the situation. If you lose your main navy, you won't have much to do for the rest of the game. It is not going to be a very good situation for you. So therefore, you have to wait until you know you can take this, or you can just sit back so you can use it whenever you need it.
Yeah, I mean it's a feature of Hoi gameplay, and that mirrors the actual history in some ways. Fleet battles. If you take a really big fleet battles, they're battles you can't afford to lose.
Yeah, they are.
If you're going to take a battle like that, you need to take it with a very strong expectation that you're going to win it. And it was only in that battle, the intervention of the storm, or the lack of a storm, meant that the way that resulted the way it did. So both players, as they build these fleets and they employ them in the war, I mean, they're going to be probably quite cautious about throwing them in, because if you lose that battle, and, even 5 minutes into the war, it's going to be game over. And that's why we saw it only at the very end as a the Hail Mary from Dankis at the time. He was trying to find some way of rescuing victory in that round.
100%, because the Japanese Navy is basically useless if you get the bad RNG and there is a storm. So therefore, I guess College can be a little less careful because he is less reliable on the weather being good on the day of the battle. Yeah,
he has those battleships, which even though they'll have a negative effect from the storm, it's better than the carriers who have no impact because they can't fly the planes off.
Yeah. Well, they can fly them, but they don't perform very well.
Well, I mean, in a storm, you can fly the planes directly into the sea most of the time. So we have research. I'll double check on the research. Actually, there's a free slot. Pretty standard stuff. Radio coming out here for the Allies, which we didn't have in. Which Lennon didn't have in the game, I think, yesterday. That he on the Rhein where he got reinforced memed. And you have reinforced rate for the radio can actually go a long way to mitigate that.
Oh yeah, it actually gives you a much better percentage chance of it happening. Whereas Leonard, I think the base chance is 2%, and if you get the radio, it's an additional 5% chance. And he had 4 days where every hour is a tick for him chancing in to reinforce, and it's just incredible. Like that, he didn't have the radio that he might actually have thrown on that.
Yeah, absolutely. We are seeing on the Axis side, I'll bring it over here onto my screen just for a second. They're doing skimp on resources, which will give them a minus 15% production cost to fighters. They've already got 14 factories on fighters. They're actually suffering from a deficit of resources as a result of that. So really heavy focus on fighters, which you need to have any kind of air dominance. On the Allied side, slightly less. There's only, 12 factories here on fighters. And they don't have the same kind of thing coming from their focuses, do they? Desert Air Corps, which gives them some research bonuses and cost reductions, does give them 200 improved small airframe. I think they're fighters.
Yeah, it is. It's worth noting here that the 200 improved small airframes are much worse than the ones that you're going to build yourselves. So it's the early advantage he gets with this. He gets the numbers early on, but the Japanese should be able to build good fighters cheaper for longer.
Yeah, so we'll see an effect here where the Japanese, at the end of the game, are going to be able to probably have a very strong presence in the air. So it's going to be critical for College that he makes good use in the early part of the war of his superior. I think he's got 21 days to the war. That focus, in fact, has he cancelled it? No, it's finished. Yes, he's got those 200 fighters now. He's got to deploy them and then move quite quickly. So naval invasions here. 2 heading for Borneo here. In fact, both players are competing for these eastern ports in Borneo, and then a invasion here onto Java, and maybe one going to Sumatra as well if he garrisons that up. On the Axis side, we've got paradrops coming across from southern Thailand into Sumatra, and also down into southern Malaya around Singapore. Ground invasion down Malaya, and then many naval invasions that have now been activated into Sumatra, into all the ports here on Borneo, and up here in the Philippines as well. No attempt to try and seize the Philippines from the Allies, and probably wise considering how far away and how difficult that is, and now launching these naval invasions as we approach the war, and we have 7 days to go.
And I believe that Seemops actually set up a better or more nuanced invasion force than what College has done, because he's doing both air and like sea. So, and a lot more naval invasions for that sake. Also, a lot of convoy raiding set up already, ready to intercept any invasion going in. All of these small little forces going out, and it's not necessarily losing the division that's the bad part, it's the interception that's the bad part as well. And if you
Just
get
slowing you down, basically.
because then he might be able to get there before College gets there.
Yeah, so my concern now is College doing, it's quite a conservative setup from College.
Very
is he
conservative.
doing enough to make use of what we think might be his early dominance in the air? And in fact, he's got these naval forces out.
He's got 2 destroyers.
He needs to get a good position.
Yeah. And as unfortunately for him, he's only raiding 1 sea zone. And right now we can already see the first interception right there.
Big naval battle.
That's actually a big naval battle
It is,
already. That was the 2 big navies versus each other. You don't want to lose your navy this early on. That would be very unfortunate.
Yeah, getting away there on one side. And the invasions are going in now. We have Axis troops on the move. They've already landed in Sumatra and are pushing south immediately. This looks like really good micro work from Seemops. He's already got them on the move as soon as they land. Another battle here in the south. That's just convoy raiding. And more convoy raiding here from the Axis fleet onto Allied shipping.
And he is landing on Brunei right now, but got convoy raided in the last moment. There's a big naval battle happening again, but it seems that Seemops is running away every time, which might be a smart choice. He might be able to take it. Who knows? Ooh, that is an interesting one right there. If he keeps going for it.
Well, yes. I mean, Seemops probably knows that, considering his advantage with the air production towards the end, like he has no need to engage in these naval battles and risk losing his fleet so early on.
So I agree, that's probably his play there, but it would be unfortunate if he got caught, because he is risking the biscuit a little bit with this. He might get caught, and then College might get an early hit on it, a lucky critical strike on one of his main ships, and if he loses one of those carriers, his advantage goes down drastically.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Sumatra now being occupied. In terms of this eastern port in Borneo, we have troops arriving.
Intercepting, but Seemops is coming in, and he is not getting intercepted, and he is going for the port.
I mean that's like one tile.
Yeah.
A couple of ticks, then they've beaten them too. So the Allies are in. They're now defending this naval invasion successfully. They were very badly rated on their way in there. I mean, we're looking at this division. It has 15% fighting strength in both these divisions.
If we see a force attack on that, that could very much fall.
Yeah, because they have so much strength high, they can just de-strength them.
And if you don't have a foothold on this island, or manage to hold a foothold, then it's going to be very, very complicated getting the landing again. Then you're going to have to start looking for other options or what to do. I see colleges coming in with another landing there, but again, been raided. Not a lot of fighting power remaining there.
Yeah, we're just seeing a really good naval setup from Seemops. He's just preventing any of College's troops from getting any kind of foothold without being severely combo-raided. Look at that, 45,000 casualties for the Allies and 14,000 for the Axis. That's a pretty stark ratio. I don't know if you saw during the game when me and Tommy were doing your game on this one last. We kept an eye on the casualties. At one point, there were 66,000 casualties for your team and 2 for the opposition team.
I don't want to take any blame for that. That must have been golden. And also, what we just saw there is some of College's divisions being completely strength deleted in the ocean, which can happen if you continuously get raided by bigger navies.
Yeah, just raiding into oblivion here. I mean, the Allies do have a big navy. They've got 41 destroyers, 4 light cruisers, 4 heavy cruisers, 3 battleships, and a carrier. but they're just not able to use that to prevent these raids from happening on their convoys.
It's all over the place, and what we're looking at here is College desperately trying to reinforce, but again getting caught by a big Navy. Good Navy micromanagement here. All the reinforcements trying to get into this port, all getting killed in the ocean. He doesn't even have to fight them there, and now he's stuck on a. Oh, that was actually Seemops' division that got intercepted. Actually, the reinforcements that came in from College were all down to not. They're 0. They're getting deleted. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a force attack now from the amphibious division, and simply because it's being attacked from 3 sides, that allied division is just going to evaporate. It will de-strength until it gets to 0 and then just disappear.
A big naval battle.
Enormous naval battle. This is it. But they're retreating again immediately. Axis not interested in fighting these naval battles to their conclusion.
Again, there's not really a point for him because I believe Seemops is going to take this tile right now. Oh, there's the paratrooper from College, the one he got. He's dropping in, and that might be game-changing because we are looking at it, and it looks like we switched over to his perspective.
It's simply College. There is no alternative. He must hold this bridgehead on Borneo.
He needs it because if he loses it, it's going to be very hard getting back in. That paratrooper might actually come in clutch. I didn't expect him to do something like this, but
it's working. He's landing. They're in terrible supply, and the strength that's left on those divisions holding the port is so small now.
The only bad thing that could happen here, other than either of them losing their navies, is if College loses his hold here. If he's unable to hold it and the paratrooper is still there, that paratrooper will be wasted.
There's a significant naval battle now happening on just off the coast there. They're not actually retreating.
They're not backing down. They're actually. We could be looking at what is the deciding thing right here. Honestly, the deciding battle of the war.
There's a little bit of damage being done. It's not. There's a storm ongoing, so the carriers have had greatly reduced effectiveness.
Yeah, College advantage. And it looks like there are submarines in the battle. So
one destroyer's been sunk. Yeah, submarines present. It's now cleared. We're going to see some more damage being done.
Maybe, perhaps. Oh, it's nighttime. Then the fighters don't, or the planes don't do as much again. We're back. Planes not dealing damage.
There is some significant damage to that battleship on the Axis side.
And it is also running low on ore.
76% down. It's taking heavy damage. That is the Yamato.
Oh, that is a lot of naval supremacy they lose. Oh, Seemops retreating after losing 4 destroyers, and when you retreat, you are also prone to losing more ships quicker as well because they won't fire back as well and won't be moving.
That Yamato down to 69% strength as a result of that combat.
He needs to get out of that and not get caught again.
But in the process, the Allied foothold on Borneo is stable. They've got that foothold. The division went down to, I saw 9% fighting strength on the ones that were holding that province for a while. Yeah. But they're there, they're in. The supplies are terrible for the Axis at the same time.
Slowly regaining his strength as well, and Seemops might actually have done the worst mistake he could have. He tried to rush the port. Instead, he hasn't taken all of this. You know what we discussed yesterday as well? It is very easy for College. If he gets another paratrooper and lands in any of these, all these guys will be encircled because this isn't his territory.
Absolutely, yeah. He leaves himself very vulnerable. This may be a first serious mistake from Seemops in the tournament, getting too greedy, overextending his lines, desperately trying to take that port, which would have given him a super strong position. It hasn't worked. And now there's a great chance here for College to come back and take some land.
With a lot of what he calls good divisions, which are 20 with a support artillery in it. Absolutely amazing. I think this is going to be the main battle zone for this game. Unless either of them, it doesn't look like College has any other backup plan drawn up. He now needs to fight his way all the way up to Rhein, which we've seen in almost all the matches where any of the players have a foothold on this. Because I do not believe Seemops is maybe planning to do a little bit of naval invasion behind him, but I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that, but there is a lot of divisions in there now. And yeah, you're right. Borneo is going to be the center of this map. I think unless either player makes a significant mistake, Batavia and Manila are going to stay with their current control. They've got a great position with an island. You'd have to straight cross to get at them, which leaves Borneo as the center of this map. Manila actually is undefended currently. Yeah. Which would be much worse if there was naval superiority for the Allies right now.
If College did some scouting and he didn't try to threaten it until the last moment, he could use that as an emergency option to try and win the game in the last moment if it is still undefended.
We have got an illness for one of the Allied generals, for Neil Ritchie. So College's army that's in that army, the green army there, the general is ill.
which means he gets 50% less skill bonuses and cannot use his combat abilities in game. So that means that Seemops can use Last Stand and Force Attack without College being able to do it unless he swaps his general.
Yeah, I mean that's the key. That's a key thing here. It can be. I mean that's a complete random chance, but they are fighting in jungle, which means there's a much higher chance of your generals getting ill.
And it looks like we might be getting one of our first encirclements. No, Seemops spotting it and countering. Very unfortunate for College that Seemops was paying attention.
Yeah, absolutely. And meanwhile, we got focuses not assigned, research slots not assigned, operatives not assigned on the Allied side, and yeah, and the same on the Axis. We've got 3 research slots on the Axis side that are completely empty at full capacity.
Same thing happening.
The intensity of this micro, the players can't look away for a second, or there's another port going to be captured there by the Allies.
He is last standing, and as we just talked about, he cannot counter it with a force attack. So, therefore, he cannot delete the division in there until the last stand runs out. So it's up to Seemops if he can counterattack now and free the division. Otherwise, it is going to die in there unless he leaves the port, and it might go out into raiding. No, is College raiding? No, there is no raiding going on. Seemops has full control of the seas as we are looking at it right now. Let me have a look and see if he is still raiding. Not on this side anymore. He could potentially do that to try and ruin the supply of College, but is not doing it, choosing to opt out of that.
Yeah, and there goes that division that was holding that port. Its strength has run out, and now College can take hold of that port, increase his supply situation. And for Seemops, this is a serious situation. He has not a huge amount of strength in Borneo. There aren't that many provinces left to take Brunei, and it's still a big chunk there that's held by the neutral nation.
100%, and it's very dangerous for him as well. Now that he has the port, that means he can start pushing, and not all the way to Brunei, as we saw.
But he makes it in there, which means that College will have to do a river crossing.
Yeah, that is true. Although he is out of supply in that tile as well. So it's a very tricky place to fight. You have to build supply up. You have to build new ports. You have to potentially get supply planes to do stuff. But yeah.
Yeah. So and then elsewhere. There's not a huge amount happening. Both sides are consolidating their positions on their territories. Java's held pretty solidly by the Allies. They are in fact one province across the strait there, but happy to hold on to Batavia, as you might expect. The focus here in Borneo.
It is what we're looking at, because I do not believe, unless College plays for that, no, he has garrisons Manila now, so the backup plan of just invading one in the end of the game is not going to do anything. We're just looking for a straight-up push for Brunei, but there is a naval invasion coming in from the port, and is College garrisoning his port? He is garrisoning the port, so that is going to fail, unfortunately, for Seemops. He does not know this yet, because I assume he has not done his scouting.
Yeah, he has good naval control of many of the areas, but not across from Balikpapan, and that division is on its way now, but it's going to run straight into trouble.
Getting stopped.
It's trying to land, but yeah, it's gonna get repelled there by the Allied troops. I mean, there's no general on that army either. That one division has no general.
They just went there rogue.
Yeah, just we're gonna go and take it back, guys. Don't worry about it.
And it looks like College is also trying to deal with the constant raiding, actually trying to force out Seemops.
They're going to try to intercept, and that's Axis fleet.
He has been trying to intercept Seemops' convoy raiding to try and destroy them, and taken a couple of battles with them. I believe, Seemops is going back in, I think, with his navy. Let's swap over there and see. Is he coming back in as well? That would be interesting. If they're actually trying to fight each other. He is here. He tried to patrol and find them, but he is backing out. Again, this is what... Does he want to take the chance and lose the initiative, or the possibility of an initiative?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would think now, if I'm College, it's quite important at this stage to get around the northern tip of Borneo.
100%.
You've got a few provinces that are owned by the neutral. I mean, Axis are going to start clearing that up, but you've got to find a way to get at Brunei. We saw it in the first show match. This is very, very similar, in fact, to the first show match when you were against Tommy and Habibi, where you ended up pushing them all the way back to Brunei, but you've got to get to that point early enough to give yourself the time to put enough pressure on that province and take it.
And that also comes down, again, to what we've been talking about a lot during this tournament, the supply. Because the supply from this port will not reach Brunei. You have to get tiles next to it, or at least adjacent to it, and then you need to build a new port which can project supply for you.
Absolutely. Let's check in with how our players are getting on. We'll start with College on the Allied side. See what he's focused on. We've got some naval management here. He's got good control of the South China Sea there and the Java Sea. the thing that can really change this around is a decisive naval engagement. That can be the thing that can really shift very quickly the balance of power.
100%. Or if a player manages to convoy raid as much as basically uncontested, so they kill all the enemy players' convoys, which College is actually trying to do right now with his destroyers, as we just saw him do. Killing 7 convoys in one battle is actually pretty good, and if you only have 146 convoys, you don't need to take that many battles. You only need to take around 20 battles, and then he's out of convoys.
Exactly, yeah. Just squeezing the supply network there. And this is the thing with this map. Is, of course, there's a big naval focus, but it's also a big logistics and supply focus. You've got to keep your divisions in good supply, otherwise it's no use having them there.
No, I would actually go as far as to call this a logistical nightmare on this map.
Yeah, this is a terrifically difficult place in the world to operate these kind of military operations. The logistical challenges are enormous, and that's why, historically, the numbers of troops that actually fought in these regions was very, very small in comparison to, say, the Eastern Front in Europe, because you can't support large concentrations of troops in these kinds of regions very easily.
And our players are unfortunately in the situation where they have to try and support a lot of troops.
They've got to try and bend every mechanic in the game to force more supply through, to give them the crucial edge, because for College, he has to take Brunei if he wants to win this first round.
There is no other way around it. Unlike the allies in reality who could maybe go around it and invade something else, he cannot, because it is a victory point for us.
Exactly, it's the 2 of the 3 victory points, and this is a constricted map. There is no other way to win a strategic victory or other target other than perhaps invading Indochina directly and trying to capitulate his opponent, which you could try and do if you had the naval control. Particularly, in fact, I'm looking at College's side there. It's actually a naval invasion that he's clicked that's heading towards Bangkok as we speak.
And there are no units in Bangkok, but there are in Saigon, so there is a response force that can be sent, but
Bangkok's the capital.
do it.
This will be a massive, enormous leap towards rotation. I suspect you need Saigon as well as Bangkok.
You need Bangkok, Saigon, you need, Hanoi, and then you could take... Is it Taipei? Yeah, Taipei, because Taipei's a 12. Yeah, that would capitulate if those were 4.
Interception here on the convoys. It's just one destroyer that's found the convoys. They're having to try and get through. Are they going to make it without too much damage? But the thing is, this now tells Seemops, you've got an invasion coming. He can see this battle happening.
He knows it's happening, because otherwise, why would a British convoy go past Bangkok?
Exactly, yeah. And you've got the divisions in here in Saigon. There's only 2 of them. They're not moving currently. And then elsewhere in Indochina, that's it. That's all there is in the whole of Indochina, is just those 2 divisions. I
do not believe he's got a clue that this is happening right now. So if College arrives with fairly full strength
in fact, we can tell. Let's check Seemops' POV. Yeah, he's on naval focus elsewhere. He's not paying attention at all to what's happening off his coastline. If these troops do get through this blockade, in fact, no, there is the Allied fleet has now turned up to drive away the destroyers.
That is interesting. Maybe he will smell that there's something wrong here, or sense it if the Allied fleet's out the coast of Bangkok.
Absolutely.
We'll see. It is only basic boys that's landing here, so it's a very simple template of just
they're arriving in just under a day. He is now seeing. He's now moving the troops to strat redeploying. They won't be quick enough. They've taken the point, but are they going to be able to hold it? Can he get hold of that airbase? The Allies. Can College get the airbase and rebase his planes up there? He's trying it now. He's moving up to northern Malaya.
He has to be really careful.
Seemops.
He is rushing VPs, though. He's actually rushing VPs.
He can't. Well, I mean,
that's not enough.
The key now will be if he could arrive at Saigon now, then he'd be in a great position. But there's not going to be enough victory points up here.
He does have a submarine outside Saigon, so he may be thinking of it.
It's 49% towards capitulation for the Axis powers right now.
Yeah, he needs Saigon then one more.
Yes, he needs other victory points. We've got, 50. 50 is 40 is that number, so it's 40%. So he needs 100 or so. Saigon will give him 25, and Hanoi will give him 13, as you say, and then Lao up here 1 and 1 just next to it here.
And as you can see, Seemops is trying everything he can to stop future naval invasions or supply to get it in there. He is now micromanaging his navy to try and stop that.
Yeah, force attack there. All the while, is his focus elsewhere? Is he distracted from other more important things? The interesting thing with the force attack he's done there, it appears to be affecting the troops in Borneo as well. Actually, if I pull it over to my view, these troops here now are on force attack because they're, I assume, part of the same army.
Yep.
The garrison army. They're not doing anything. He's burning command power here. Yeah, basically, for 119 battalions that are having this cost us 26 power command power cost, he stopped it just now. Has he achieved his success here? They are last standing, but one's gone down already. This other division is going to be destroyed soon, and that will be the end of College's attempt at a naval invasion there. But has he managed to? That's how you check College's perspective. Is he focused elsewhere? Does he have another plan?
Hopefully, I would assume he has something else planned.
Looking there, but that's a great attempt to turn the front line round. The trouble was that he got intercepted, and that just tipped Seemops off. Had those divisions moved a bit, remained static in Saigon, he would have got a better front line, and might have been kind of easier to capitalize on that.
100%. And again, we can come back to the command power. Seemops is now down to 60 command power. And for a man that's not on the professional Army Corps spirit, if I hop over here, which gives you actually 0.20 extra command power daily, it increases it dramatically. And College has 150 or 45 command power, which means that he can do a lot more force attack and a lot more last standing, which he might be able to utilize to his advantage in comparison.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the game that is far from done. We have 19 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Supply problems there for College, but he has that additional command power. Can he put it to good use and take Brunei in the time that remains? Or will it be a 1-0 victory for Seemops?
Time will tell. There's more invasions planned, maybe?
Yeah, another invasion there from Batava. He's gonna try it again.
And he's still holding it.
He's still holding. Yeah, that strength is like almost invisible on those divisions. We're looking at
7%.
Yeah. I mean, the Axis troops as well. I mean, that's organisation. They're really an organisation, but the Allied troops down onto very, very low strength. It's just last standing. Can they get some reinforcements into that pocket before it gets destroyed? We'll see if College can get that off.
Is getting a little bit of movement on Borneo on the southern part.
The problem is, though, he can't do it because on the naval map mode, we have the Axis fleet is just parked off the coast of Thailand, preventing anyone coming through here. So you try and run convoys through that, they're going to get destroyed very quickly by a fleet. So unless College is willing to take that fleet battle to try and ram those ships through against his fleet, which is very, very experienced now, these veteran carriers, I mean, it's very difficult for him.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing another invasion of the mainland unless Seemops lets down his guard. Then it's not going to happen again. But it was a nice attempt to try and also snipe some factories from him, because you got to keep in mind that Bangkok is the VP that is the main VP of the province of Siam, which holds a lot of factories, I would assume. Can I see how many it's in there? No, you can't.
Wait. Yeah, I mean, if you switch to... it's held by the Allies, so if you switch to...
Oh, yeah, that's right. We can see it now.
See it now, there you are.
16 factories there.
Yeah, so that's a lot. And to be fair, for all that time whilst he was holding Bangkok, that was not working for the Axis. That was a substantial hit to his production. I mean, overall, Seemops has 30 military factories. 9 of them were not available to him, but then that was a third of his entire production for all those days that were held by the Allies was not working for him.
And that's actually he probably held that for about a month. So that's a month's worth of production that just didn't exist now. And that might give College the advantage on him.
Yeah, if I look at, I'm looking at the logistics screen, it's mostly green. There's a slight truck shortage and fighter plane shortage for Seemops. College actually is looking, not great. He's got a deficit on guns and a small deficit on support equipment. He has a lot of light tanks in storage. In fact, is he making light tanks?
I assume it's the spawned-in.
Yeah, it's
light
the spawned-in
tank
ones. Yeah, he's not actually making any. He's most focusing on guns and fighters, as we would expect. Training a few more divisions. He has to just find a way here to launch a good concerted defensive on Borneo. I mean, he's pressed the Special Air Service Division into service as ground troops in Borneo. Probably good with their supply weight's probably quite good. And
it's also an elite division which gets a 75% modifier on it because it spawns in like that. So they are veterans. He's also pushing up along the south, maybe trying to push as far as he can and then build a port. That's what I would do in this situation. You're out of supply on all of the edges of this island. You need to create that supply for you. Otherwise, you're never going to break through. You're going to have to bet everything on a naval invasion.
Yeah, absolutely. We have 16 minutes here. So there's time for College to pull this back. He's just got to find the best plan and execute it well in these last 16 minutes. This is still winnable for him. but he's just got to go on with it.
He needs to figure it out. Again, Manila, I know I've done this quite a few times, and people have been laughing at me, but there is just one division on Manila right now, and if College sets up his convoy raiders outside of it so we can't get any reinforcements in there, and lands with a couple good divisions and force attacks, he can grab it. It is possible.
Yeah, and that's what I think I would have liked to have seen whilst he was doing the raid on Thailand itself. A major feint. He's pulling Seemops' attention away, hit him on Manila just after that.
That would be a really good choice.
Just to take the focus of the other player away from where you're actually hitting them.
And we do actually see a little bit of scouting. Maybe he does know what is out there. He knows there's one division there, but he doesn't actually know. Well, he knows there's something there. It's just a giant question mark for him. But
yeah, finally poised. The problem is that the supplies are a major problem on Borneo. Actually, if I'll bring it over to my perspective just for a second here. We have a bunch of low supply units up here on the north, on the Axis side, also on the Allied side approaching here. In the south, it looks much better, but it is quite static. These units here on the Allied side have very, very poor. In fact, they're being pushed back actually by these Axis divisions. So there is a problem here. I mean, the college is quite thin on the ground in terms of division count. He's got one in every province except for this northernmost one. There's actually a gap down here still that they're retreating into. So it's looking quite good for Seemops in terms of his land strength there. He's got quite a number of divisions. He's prepared to hold this quite advanced line, and he's got the space to fall back into if he needs to.
yeah, I believe he's actually quite comfortable in the situation there. He might have been scared a little with the Bangkok invasion. That might have increased his heart rate a little bit. But otherwise, it's College that's he's looking for any opportunity he can right now. Seemops is slowly, as you can see, he's also pushing him again, slowly just shutting every door, every possibility there is for a potential comeback. He's now going on the offensive, trying to actually throw him off the island entirely, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, this is the way it's developed. In many of the games on this map we've seen, there is sort of on this, and particularly in Sonnenblumen, less so in the Rhein map, is sort of two battles. Where there's the first battle to see who gets the victory points initially, and then as a result of that, one player will be on the defensive and one will be on the offensive for the remainder of the game. And in this one, it's developed that Seemops has the defensive. He has the 2 victory points in his pocket, and he's able to have a much more conservative approach. College has to try and make something happen. He's got to get more and more creative with his strategies. I think maybe he thinks he probably can't push this conventional land campaign on Borneo. He's tried his naval invasion. That hasn't quite worked. Has he got anything else up his sleeve to use in the last 13 minutes of this round?
And that's what you got to ask yourself here, because it's always easier to defend, especially because you don't have to spend as many resources defending. So he gets to have an easier position where all he has to do is try and read read College's mind. What is College going to do? And then he just has to sit back. Seemops can just sit there and not waste resources. But he is actually trying to do it. Like that's fun to see.
Pushing in there towards the port. I mean, if he can cut off that division there, those Allied divisions, he's going to be in serious trouble.
It seems like he's forgotten. No, maybe he waited until he left the port. Now College might actually get stopped here.
Yeah, he's being. One division is making it across. They're force attacking. He's going to be there in 10 hours. The advancing Axis troop, he's going to make it in.
But will it be enough to hold it?
They're still in a really exposed position. College doesn't have the division count on the ground in Borneo at the moment. Every province has only got 1 division in, except for 2 at the very south, and he's leaving gaps on the front line.
That's a very dangerous position to have, especially when your main port is probably situated in the north, especially to close to Brunei. All the other ports aren't nearly close enough to do anything in terms of supplying an attack on Brunei.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just sort of starting to swing really towards the Axis player. In terms of the air war, actually, as well, we can see over Borneo, if I can find the right one. Yeah, we're looking at a dominance actually for the Allies. In fact, I'm looking from the Axis point of view, because most of the planes that Seemops has got are flying from Malaya. They're having to fly from quite a long way away. He's only got he's got 200 airbase here in Kalimantan, but I guess supply he's conscious of. They're flying from a long way over here, so his air dominance isn't quite telling yet. But whether that does as the last 11 minutes go by, we'll see.
100%. We'll swap over to Seemops because it looks like he is. Oh, okay.
Well,
he's not even looking at it, but there's a naval battle happening up there.
Is that developing significantly?
No,
he's trying to leave it. I mean, 5 Axis destroyers were sunk, 1 for 1 Allied destroyer. But again, Seemops has at this point, definitely, Seemops has no reason to take a big naval fight College.
There is no point.
Keep him at arm's length. He's in a stronger position, and it's just a case of risk nothing.
But it looks like College is packing his bags right now and leaving the port, actually getting one encircled division right there. You can see it. It is one of them left the port, the most supplied one, getting raided off.
Oh, yeah, getting intercepted, so he's going to take more damage there. He's been thrown back quite a long way by this counter-offensive from Seemops. It's going to be really tough now from this position to try and take this this first round.
I would be looking towards Manila if I was College right now. I would be trying to scout that out, see if there is an option, because Brunei, as you said earlier, you need to get there earlier. If you get there late, you don't have the time to prepare a full-on push for it.
Yeah, because you need to build up supply. You have to have your either you're building ports or you're just you're getting things in place to allow you to hammer it enough, perhaps with naval superiority. But it hasn't happened for College in this one.
Let's see if he's planning anything. If he's got anything going on. Did more divisions in training, moving his navy around?
Yeah, I mean there were divisions in training when I looked last time for College, but whether there's anything that can really tell that there are 3 good ones in training. They're almost done, but it doesn't seem like he has the strength really to push this front line. But yeah, so 9 minutes to go. This is a sizable. This is the first game. There could be up to 4 games today. This is a best of 5, but this was College's pick for the map. So if this is a victory for Seemops, as it looks like it might be with 9 minutes left, it will be a sizable win for him to break College's serve.
100%. I thought College might think that he had the naval advantage here, that he might have the overall strategic aspect here. And the Allies do have a good advantage on going in here, but again, as we've seen most of the games, the Axis do get Brunei and Manila, and then it's a pushing game for the Allies, and College hasn't managed to do that.
Yeah, that's essentially the test for this one. We know that the Axis tend to get a hold of 2 victory points early in this game. The Allies are very strong and do have the ability to push. But it takes a very, very strong performance from an Allied player, and to push, you have to be on the offensive and pushing, and it's a much more taxing thing to do that.
Yeah, and there was actually a naval battle that we missed, where 5 destroyers and 30 naval bombers were traded for a battleship, a heavy cruiser, and 2 destroyers from College's side. That actually means he loses a little bit of an advantage, because 5 destroyers, they can be replaced easily. They're small ships.
This is probably like one of the death knells for College's hopes here. He, of course, his main thing was that he had battleships,
and now I'm pretty sure he's also lost his carrier somewhere, because the British do get one. Yeah,
we can actually see that in the lost ships window. One carrier has been sunk. Not sure exactly where that happened, but must have been a previous battle. No, that was the one you just saw. Sorry.
Yeah. Other than that, Seemops, he still has his 3 carriers, a battleship, 6 light cruisers, and 37 destroyers. Overall, right now, Seemops is looking at having the advantage at sea. So it's looking grim for College at this point, I have to admit that.
Yeah, it's looking quite hard for him now. He has got time to come back. There are 2 more games. They've got to play on Sonnenblume, and then they've got to play on a 3rd map, which I think will be the Rhein, but we'll see.
As we're seeing as well, the Manila play is coming in. He's thinking of it. He's planned an invasions. I don't know how many he's doing this with. 3 units.
Yeah, I mean, I just worry that had this happened earlier. I mean, I assume it's these new divisions. No, he's still got 4. He's got 4 more in training.
It's way too late.
Had he been able to do this kind of operation earlier when there was 1 division there, or 2 divisions, where it was, that could have been a real possibility. But now look at that. I mean, that's a fortress now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's way too many divisions there. He's even put his best marine there, I assume. Yeah, elite as well. I don't know if he's actually changed the template. Probably hasn't, but it's still good. It's got good stats. It gets that 75% modifier. He's even got his navy nearby to give Schwabenbahn if he needs to. But either way, as you said, if he had done this earlier, at one point there was only 1 division there. He could have easily taken that and then sniped all the ports, so Seemops was suddenly in the disadvantaged position.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the dividend of having won the battle for Borneo for Seemops. 15 minutes ago when it was more even, and College could have launched his invasion with the 1 division, because the Battle of Borneo was still very much in the balance. So Seemops could not take his troops away from that fight in Borneo, because he might have lost it. Now he can be quite confident that it's going to be very, very unlikely for College to make any kind of push in Borneo. He's a long way away from his victory points, so he's redeployed troops to where he thinks they're needed in Manila, and he's closed off that victory point to the Allies. and has meant it's going to be very, very difficult now for College to find a way to win from here.
100%. But we are going to see a College attempt a really good try here to see what he can do. He's planning on landing in one port, which is actually a smart play if we think about it, because that is undefended. He will be able to get that landing. He's actually really smart right now because he will have the supply and he will be able to move up to Manila, and maybe if his divisions, they are called the good ones, if they are better than Seemops's, he might actually be able to push it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at there is artillery now in Seemops's divisions up here. His infantry division, which template is this? He has 2, but named the same. Infantry division 2. That's 12 width with support artillery, which might be the same as what College has, or does he have bigger ones?
He has dedicated artillery, I'm pretty sure.
Ah, okay.
So we'll see. But there is one huge and massive disadvantage, the level 4 fort in Manila.
It's going to make it very... I mean, the thing is, he lands there at such a narrow front line into urban terrain, into a jungle tile next to it. So with a level 4 fort on the
level
urban
5
one,
now.
level 5, it's going to be so hard to push through there.
I believe Seemops is probably, you know, I was going to say he's out here playing Fortnite right now, but no, he's not building any further. That was the last fort.
Does he perhaps have a siege buster, fortress buster general anywhere?
That would change everything.
Alexander doesn't have that trait, I don't think. Does he have one he could use?
If he has engineer, he could upgrade it, but I don't believe any of the British generals have an engineer, which... unfortunately for College makes it so he will get a, what is that modifier? It's 5 times 15, I'm pretty sure. Let's just have a look.
It'll be a sizable malice. On top of the fact that he's attacking to an urban tile to start with.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate for him. And Seemops will also be controlling the airfield because I'm pretty sure he is guarding it. So, and he's even got naval bombers outside, so College will be bombed en route to it. So
yeah, this is it. This is the big play with 4 minutes on the clock. We can see
and he has launched.
He's launched here. 7 divisions heading up to invade Manila. There's a push going on Borneo now from the Axis troops. They're going to win that battle fairly handily. There is a interceptor battle here, but the Allied fleet is the entire Allied fleet is escorting its convoys here. They're sending this Axis destroyer packing. It's been sunk very, very quickly. Not going to let any kind of interception happen into his divisions. They will land. They will get a foothold here in the Philippines, but with 3 minutes 30 left, it's going to be very hard for them to break through. Even if they got naval superiority, it wouldn't be long enough for those divisions to suffer the real full effects of that.
The only thing that can come in right now is, remember we talked about command power earlier? Seemops is down to 48 command power. College has 132. If he has enough time, he got intercepted, but again, British Navy is there to protect, hopefully. And if Seemops then does not have enough command power, he's already just clicked it again. He has no command power anymore. This could actually turn into a 100% win on that one. If College gets the landing on that port, he cannot click it again. Oh, and there's the naval battle.
Yeah, sharp. Two destroyers sunk on the Axis side on that naval battle. There's another one happening right now.
The College stocks are not looking good right now.
Another battleship gone down for the Allies. Actually, I'm going to grab this very quickly so you can see it. Another battleship down for the Allies. Another cruiser gone down for the Allies. This is the last-ditch naval battle, the one we were expecting. There's no landing yet up here. You can just see it up here, the landing going on. The battle, it's almost been won for the Allies. And yeah, a calamitous battle here for the Allied Navy. Allied Navy here sacrificing itself to try and get these troops ashore.
For all the College lovers out there hoping he was going to win this game, I do not believe this is the game for him.
They're ashore, right, force attack straight away.
No supply, though, because there were no floating harbors research from him, if you remember. So it's really...
No, he is making floating harbors.
He is making them?
He's making them, it's not done yet.
Oh.
He is still trying to land here, but there are redeployments from the Axis. Yeah, he's going to get forced back here, but there is the last stand here on the Axis side. Actually, say only 4 command power. This will run out, won't it?
It will. He will not be able to continue last standing. Where College will be able to. He's not doing it right now, but he should be able to force attack, which I would be doing.
Yeah, 125 command power available. He was force attacking before. There's another naval battle happening here between the two sides. This battleship has 17% strength. It's still in the fight. It's still going to keep going. It's being hammered by these carriers. And they're going to try and retreat 2 more ships here, likely to go down as they retreat.
Oh, he's called GG.
And it's GG, in fact. So that is the end of the first round. Seemops is victorious. It's a 1-0 lead in the grand final. A valiant effort by College throughout that battle.
Valiant effort. I think that was a very cool attempt to try and like turn the tide in the last minute.
Yeah, I think he actually there was more to that than I was expecting in that attack on Manila. It's just a shame that he wasn't able to get a foothold and really stick it to them. In the end, Seemops had it covered because it came a bit too late in the battle.
He calculated it and read College's mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was from Seemops' side, if we, playing exactly like he's played throughout this whole tournament, just clinical.
Yeah, 100%.
Executed his plan really well. Not a lot that. I mean, College didn't play that badly.
No. He played a really good game on trying to do stuff.
There was 2 good players, and it just didn't quite work out for that.
We had the Bangkok invasion.
But it is not over yet. There are still up to 4 more games of Command & Conflict to come today, and we'll be right back after this short break.